going on, everyone? Today is Tuesday, September 23rd. Last night, Sleepy Hollow returned, everyone. Season 2 has begun. Last spring, season 1 ended. It was kind of like a trial run kind of show. The producers probably didn't think, it was going to get enough, fan base and popularity. And I think it was only like 12 episodes in total. Finale was like a two-parter, which was amazing. We left things off with Ichabod trapped in a magic coffin, where Henry Parrish, aka Jeremy Crane, his son, aka the Horseman of War. So that's where Crane is. Abby, she's stuck in purgatory. Jenny, her whereabouts are unknown, and Katrina has been taken by the Horsemen of Death. And so the show starts off, it seems like, it looks like Crane's, still in the coffin and everything, but it's actually in the cabin, pitch black, and it's his birthday, apparently. A year has passed since the events of the finale, apparently, and from the get-go, it just seems off. We find out, at this point that apparently Katrina and Jenny are dead. But then they get a call about some sort of like a history professor needing their help. And, they get actually ambushed by the Horsemen of Death. They, when they get this call, they feel like like they need to be armed. They are armed to the teeth. They're prepared for anything now these days. It's actually bad. Guns in the trunk of Abby's car. It's crazy. And as always, this show and the comic moments between Abby and Ichabod, I love that. They talk about Benjamin Franklin and how he was kind of like full of himself and used crazy methods in his learnings and everything. Anyway, they get ambushed by the Horsemen, and turns out the Horseman's looking for some sort of key. Some sort of key, dealing with Benjamin Franklin. And Ichabod mentions, this key was actually used in the electricity experiments Ben Franklin did. And, of course, historical events tie into the supernaturalistic ties to the show. That this key is some sort of door to purgatory, and it can unlock the door, for souls to come out, stuff like that. And in this time, a year later, Henry Parrish is actually their prisoner, and Crane has the crazy idea of getting his help to try and find this key. And that's the point in time where everything is revealed, where none of this is actually real. Crane is still in the coffin. Abby is stuck in purgatory. I knew it from the get-go. I didn't know it, but I had my doubts that the whole thing, a year has passed, actually happened. So, Jenny is alive. She got into the car crash in the finale, and she's alive, and she was taken prisoner by Henry to be questioned about this key. Katrina, also alive and under captivity of death. And we actually saw a moment with the Horseman and Katrina. We actually got to see the face of Abraham again. So I think we had our confirmation that the Horseman truly is Abraham after, the events of one of the episodes last season. In Purgatory, Abby actually runs into an old character. Andy Brooks, played by John Cho, I believe his last name is. I knew we were gonna see him again, and even after death, after last year, um, Abby actually asks for his help to try and communicate with Crane on Earth, just like Katrina did when she was in Purgatory. So, he helps out. With Crane still in the coffin, the way he gets out is just it's great. Just using his intelligence of, you know, just the world. It's absolutely great. There was a moment he kind of the way he tries to get out of the coffin, it could be dangerous and possibly kill him. So he records kind of like his last will and testament kind of thing. And he tries to record it on his phone, but he didn't do it the right way, and it never recorded. It was Ichabod Crane and technology in this show do not mix. There's still more to that later on in the episode. Um, so he does get out, and he actually helps Jenny escape, and tries to use an ambulance, and actually tries to drive it, and it's Ichabod Crane trying to record video on a phone, trying to drive a vehicle. Uh, it's absolutely hysterical. So the way Abby and Katrina, are able to communicate, out of purgatory onto Earth is, some sort of mirror that that Moloch uses well to communicate with his servants. We've seen this multiple times in the pilot of the show where Moloch shows up in a mirror and it cracks, stuff like that. So she was able to use this mirror to communicate with Ichabod. But just before, Brooks mentions, the reason why I helped you is because there is still a piece of me that's still human. He says, Moloch will tear him to shreds, stuff like that. But we never actually saw it, so we don't know if he's dead. He's probably still alive, probably being tortured. Anyway, Ichabod uses his smarts and remembers, as usual, something a historical figure told him about that helps them find this key to purgatory. And it's just insane how all these historical facts, all these historical places just tie into the show and make it believable that all this supernatural evil stuff is happening, that's intertwining with, this country's history. So, towards the end, I'm not going to give away too much, but Ichabod and Abby are reunited. And Moloch does not get his way. That's all I'm going to say. The ending of the episode was amazing. Moloch confronts, War, tells him, my plan was foiled, but I have a backup plan, and gives Henry like a gift and gives him this suit of armor that acts as his, as Henry's soldier. It's so badass, and it's basically what War would look like if he was an actual, like, a horseman, if you know what I mean. And Henry can use it, he can control this suit of armor as his soul, and it's absolutely insane. Flaming sword, black armor, it's absolutely badass. Anyway, next week's episode, it's called The Kindred. Looks like there's efforts to free Katrina from death. But to do so, they gotta Abby and Crane and Jenny. they have to work together and release their own monster to defeat another monster. So, season 2 is back, everyone. I'm so glad. I can't wait to see what else the show has in store for us. So, I'll see you all later and have a good night.